This program on investing under regulation crowdfunding is not investment advice.
Rising with the crowd, power unbound, change makers lead where hope is found. Superpowers for good, shaping the fate. Investors and dreamers open the gate. Supercross stands loud, proud and true, building tomorrow for me and you.
Welcome to the Superpowers for Good show from the Super Crowd. I'm your host, Devin Thorpe, and we've got a great show for you today. I want to welcome everyone, but especially our first-time viewers. You know, we see in this data every week that the show is growing, reaching new people, and I want to welcome you, especially if you're a first-time viewer, and encourage you to watch the entire episode. Every Tuesday and Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern, we host a new change maker. Oftentimes, as with today's guest, the change makers are raising capital from the crowd, allowing you to participate in the success that they're creating. Today's guest is an extraordinary entrepreneur with a great track record who is the CEO and founder of Burble Creativity. Jay Goth is his name, and he's got a really inspiring product you're just going to love hearing about. Jay, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Devin. It's great to be here, and thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. I appreciate your willingness to take the time to do this. This is, such an honor for us to have you and to learn more about what you're doing. You know, there are a variety of people in the world who struggle with sensory sensitivities and a variety of other related issues and anxieties. And you've created a remarkable tool for addressing that. Tell us about it.
Sure. First of all, I want to express my gratitude to you and the viewers of what you're doing here with Superpowers for Good. I think it's a tremendous thing, and I think it's really going to take off. I met Taylor Cole, who's actually the founder and inventor of this technology, many years ago, about 8 years ago, when I was a senior consultant for a small business development center. And he told me about this idea he had about a new way to tell stories. And he called it minimally defined immersive storytelling. And basically what we're doing is we're placing a child in an immersive environment where lights and sounds combine with a minimally defined story that allows the child to actually imagine their own version of the story. So think about it, Devin, if you have 10 kids in a big tent and they're all listening to the same minimally defined story, when you're done, each one of them will have their own specific version of that story, which is really cool and very, very new and unique.
And this seems to have some particular benefit for children on the autism spectrum. Is that right, or am I misunderstanding?
No, you're absolutely right. One of the things that we found when we started doing our demonstrations is we were inviting, families of all kinds in to do the storytelling and to experience the immersive environment. And we found that we were having a particularly beneficial effect on children who were on the spectrum. One of our people who came in with her child told us that her child had never slept through the night. And after her story times telling session, the kid actually slept through the night for the first time in his life. That was remarkable. So we find a calming and attentiveness benefit to the multisensory environment. And there are actually studies that have proven that children who go into a multisensory environment, who can control that environment themselves, actually see a great benefit from it. So we're tapping into that.
That is fantastic. It really is so innovative, so different, so creative. You mentioned that you connected with the founder of the technology, and it reminded me that as you and I were chatting a few weeks ago about your work and your career, that you have done a lot of different active investing and other things. Tell us a little bit about how you became involved with Burble Creativity and have put so much energy and time into it that you're now the CEO.
Now, it was interesting because as a consultant with, it was called TriTech Small Business Development Center at the time, we were a technology-focused group that helped, we were funded by the SBA to help entrepreneurs grow their companies. And for over a dozen years, I've been the executive director of a group here in Southern California called InSoCal Connect. That's a nonprofit that helps entrepreneurs. I've always been an entrepreneur. I love to support entrepreneurs. I invest in entrepreneurs. And when I met Taylor Cole, the founder, and he told me about this technology, I was immediately drawn to it because I could see a social benefit for this. And I am drawn to those types of offerings. I've been involved in precision medicine for quite a while. We have a genomics lab here that does a lot of work on identifying new genomic ideas. And the whole idea behind my investment philosophy is if we can allocate capital to companies that are actually doing good for society, doing good for the investor, and making money, then what I kind of call it conscious capitalism. It's a way to allocate capital in a way that directly affects the social good. And so, Taylor invented this technology because he himself was diagnosed as an adult with audio processing disorder, which isn't autism, but it is, autism related. It's a neurodivergent condition. And, that's what led him to this whole idea of story, because he couldn't learn in school the way traditional people learn because of his audio processing disorder. He was great at reading. He's got a master's in engineering, but he was never able to understand lectures correctly because of this disorder. And he understands that everyone experiences things differently. And the whole idea behind his minimally defined immersive storytelling is don't tell people what they're supposed to think. Let them think for themselves. Just give them some cues and kind of guide them along the way so that they can engage their own imagination, come up with their own version of a story.
That would be so fun for any child, but it's wonderful that it has a particular benefit for people who are neurodivergent. It's really kind of wonderful. We are really grateful that you take the time to be on the show because of your kind of dual experience as an entrepreneur and as an angel investor. And as you think about this idea of conscious capitalism and your work as both an entrepreneur and an investor, how do you think about that? And did that influence your decision for Burble to raise capital from the crowd?
Absolutely. When about a little over a year ago, I came to the board of directors. I was a member of the board of Burble at the time. And I said, you know what? We've done 7 years of R&D. We know what we have, but we're not doing anyone any good unless we get this product to market. And in order to design our commercial version of this tent, because everything you see in the videos is prototypes, or early stage prototypes, we need to design a commercial version and bring it to the market at a price point that people can afford. And instead of going the traditional funding route of venture capital, I wanted to go directly to the community through a crowdfunding program so that the members of the community could actively be involved in the development of the company as partial owners of the company. And they'd have a voice because as we started developing this and saw the need, I wouldn't say need, but the benefits for the autism community, we started working with the local autism groups immediately and started working specifically with them on how we could, create a better product and address the needs of that community. And of course, as we grow, we'll expand it into other neurodivergent areas. And I think this has a benefit for all kids. And actually, there are a lot of adults that like it. I mean, we've used the tent for taking naps and sleeping, and it's a nice, peaceful, calming environment.
It's just wonderful to think about all the different applications. And I love how your career, in some ways we might say, has sort of come full circle. I wonder if you would, just for the sake of context, look back for us and recap some of the highlights of your career, because you've done a variety of interesting and important things.
Well, Devin, my probably biggest success to date before Burble, because I think this will be my biggest success ever with the group that we have, was back in the late 90s. We started a company called Commonwealth Energy in Southern California, where we were looking at the deregulation of the electricity industry, and we're thinking, there's got to be an opportunity here for us to do something that would really benefit the investor, benefit the company, and also benefit society as a whole. And we found a niche in that industry, developing and retailing electricity, where we were able to offer renewable energy, which at that time was way ahead of its time, to the general population at a discount to what they were paying current utilities. We built a huge business off of that. We grew it up to almost $500 million in revenue, raised money from private companies, because that's what I was doing at the time. Well, private investors. We had 1,500 investors from mostly California who invested in our company at a very early stage and drove us to becoming a public company and, very successful at what we did. So, that was kind of one of the success stories. But I've also been involved in the solar industry. I've been involved in taking algae and converting that into renewable fuels. I have been involved with precision medicine, as I said. I actually started a company where we were trying to repurpose plastic from all types of sources into like plastic lumber and things like that. I did a financial services company where I was trying to bring the unbanked into a more regulated world, where unbanked people didn't have to pay the high fees they do today for like payday lending and things like that. I was trying to get away from those, what I consider predatory practices. So I've always been drawn to something that can, produce a social good while, making money as an investor.
It's brilliant, and it's exciting to see what you have done and what you are doing now with that accumulated expertise and perspective. Let me just point out, folks, that on the screen I'm sharing a link, s4g.biz/burble, s4g.biz/burble, BURBLE, and that will take you to the Burble Creativity crowdfunding page, where you can learn more about investing in Burble Creativity. Jay, we're thrilled to have you on the show. We're just going to take a quick break here.
All right.
Folks, I'm here with Jay Burble today. He is the CEO of Burble Creativity. Did I say Jay Burble? We're here with Jay Goth, the CEO of Burble Creativity. Obviously, I'm being a little creative and need to be a little more focused. But in any case, great episode, great conversation with Jay about his business. We're going to shift gears when we come back to talk to him about his superpower. You don't want to miss this, so stick around.
Download a free copy of How to Make Money with Impact Crowdfunding, the book Sarah Hanks describes as
a fantastic overview, not just of crowdfunding investing, but of investing in general.
Andrew Savikas raved,
"This book offers unparalleled insights for anyone looking to make a difference."
Scan the QR code to get your copy.
SuperCrowd LA is the must-attend conference for impact investors, social entrepreneurs, and community builders. Learn from experts who've raised millions, including Jason Fishman of DNA, Sarah Hardwick of The Crowd, and Doug Wilmore of WorldTree. Plus, a live pitch with top investment opportunities. Early bird pricing ends soon.
Struggling to raise capital for your business? Unlock the power of the crowd with AI. My free guide, Crowdfunding Made Simple, walks you through every step to success. Get funded smarter, faster. Scan the QR code now for your free download.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm here today with an extraordinary entrepreneur and executive and investor, Jay Goth. He's the CEO of Burble Creativity, and obviously that's confusing me. Forgive me, Jay, but tremendous guy. We've talked about the business and the amazing products that they're creating that benefit especially the neurodivergent community and kids on the spectrum. But we're going to shift gears now to talk to Jay about his superpower. So stick around. Jay, we talked about your career in the last segment, and it's clear you've really had some extraordinary success in your career. You've done amazing things. What is your superpower?
Well, Devin, I had to give this a little thought because, I know what I'm drawn to. And it really came to me as I was thinking about this. What is my superpower? I think my superpower is really understanding the superpower in others. As a tri-tech consultant and as an angel investor and as a general executive director of InSoCal Connect, I've worked with dozens and dozens of entrepreneurs. And what I try to do is identify, what's driving them, how can I help them achieve their goals? And it really drew me back to something that happened to me when I was at Commonwealth Energy, my previous success story. We had grown the company very big. I was the senior VP of marketing, and I had a staff of 7 people. I could basically do whatever I wanted. My staff was wonderful. They took great care of me. I could actually, if I wanted to, go golfing every day and bring in my big salary and fringe benefits. And it got very claustrophobic for me. I don't exist well in a bureaucracy. So I had to go do something else. And when I left the company, I was given a present, which is one of the biggest gifts I've ever gotten. I've got it right here. And what it is it's just a simple little picture frame with a saying in it that was attributed to Nelson Mandela, but it was actually written by Marianne Williamson. And you may have heard it. It's our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. And then it goes on about letting your light shine and letting others see the light within you so that they can let their light shine. And on the back of it, all of the members of my staff signed it. And what they put at the top is leadership by example. What you have done for us, we hope to do for others. Still brings a tear to my eye. This is why I exist. This is my superpower, helping people realize their dreams and goals.
That is a profound superpower. And you shared some insights with us that sort of put this in a little bit of context. But I wonder if you could identify a specific example of how you identified someone's superpower and helped them develop that into something that they could then be genuinely proud of.
Well, there are a lot of examples because I've met so many wonderful people, and I've had the great fortune to work with a number of entrepreneurs. And the entrepreneur journey is not easy. It is very, very difficult. And several times I've had to tell people, you're not going to make it. You need to go back to your day job. And that's a hard thing to tell people, but sometimes it's back to the drawing board. This thing is just not going to pencil out. I've had to do that to myself more times than I care to admit. But I think when I look back, there are a couple of people that I've been able to mentor that have really shined. One of them was a gentleman that I worked with for many years in the investor relations area. He ran his own company doing investor relations for public companies. And he always called me his right-hand man. And I really helped him develop a reputation in the industry as a real bulldog. And he just shined as a business owner and as a member of the investor community. His name was Chris Roskin. Unfortunately, he died at a very young age, but it was wonderful working with him and helping shape his journey. Taylor, the founder of Burble, was one of my mentees, and getting him to focus on building a company and helping him with that has been a big kudo for me. I've had several female entrepreneurs that I've supported. I have one right now who is doing some incredible work. Her name is Sydney, and she's developed a technology that works for amputees. A lot of times if you have your leg amputated, but you have a prosthetic, and a lot of times the prosthetic really rubs the wrong way. And what she developed was a kind of self-adjusting pneumatic system that allows you to wear that prosthetic all day, and it adjusts as your leg swells up and gets smaller. And so I invested in her company. She's up in Canada, and I've been helping her as she goes on her path. She hasn't needed any of my help. The first day I met her, the very first day, I said, this lady's going to make it. And I love working with people like that. There are just so many success stories I could tell you about, Devin, but each one of them has their own superpower, and finding that, like Sydney's superpower is being able to tell a story. Taylor's superpower is being able to think outside the box and come up with solutions that nobody could ever come up with. That's why he's helping the Navy redesign their strategy for future things. It's amazing.
Yeah, that's great. Give us a couple of tips, if you would, quickly, on how we can help other people develop their superpowers.
I think the most important thing that we all miss out on, and I'm as bad at it as anybody, is actually taking the time to listen to somebody and understand them and where they're coming from. So many times we talk to somebody and we're too busy thinking about what we want to say next to hear what they're actually telling us. And, as somebody has told me more than once, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. And I think listening to people is just the easiest way to really discern what their superpower is, because their passion will come out. And when you can find their passion, then you can focus on developing that, because, your passion is your superpower.
That is such a great point. And I really appreciate you sharing that and giving us such great advice, because obviously that's something that you are living, that you're manifesting and know how to do so well. And I think a lot of us, anyone who is a leader, needs to develop this skill a little further, even if we can never become the Jay Goth of superpowers. It's still a skill we should be trying to cultivate. Now, Jay, as we wrap up, tell people how they can learn more about the investment opportunity, tell people how they can connect with you, how they can get a tent, et cetera, et cetera. Give them the whole recap real quick.
Sure. We're going to be building 500 tents from our crowdfunding program. And those 500 will be going out to our early adopters. So we have a wait list on our website at burblecreativity.com where people can sign up to get a tent. We actually already have over 500 people signed up. So investors and people on the wait list will get our first 500. Then we're going to get feedback from them before we go into mass production. When we go into mass production, the first 500 tents off the line are actually going to go to those early adopters to replace their original models. And we're going to ask them to provide those to local autism nonprofits so that they can give them to needy families who may not have the resources to buy one of their own. We've also allocated 10% of our net profits of the company towards nonprofits in the autism sector to help get these tents out to the market.
Fantastic. Well, Jay, thank you so much for being with us. We want to wish you every success.
Thank you so much. Visit burblecreativity.com for more information.
Fantastic. Now let's do some good.